once I got into my junior year, I was kind of like hit with like my third injury at that time, or second injury, but third year of like having my competition kind of hindered. And I was like, dude, what the heck is going on? Like, why is God punishing me? Why is he like getting me injured? Like, am I doing something wrong? Am I a bad person?
Totally.
And through that, I like dove a lot deeper into my faith and like finally came to the conclusion of like, yo, like God is good. There's so much that we don't necessarily see. And the clearest example is like the blind man in the Bible, and he restores his sight. And I think it was the Pharisees. They were like, what sins did his parents commit to make for him to be blind? And
because they're trying to find out like, why are you blind? Did you do something wrong? Did your parents do something wrong? Yeah.
And Jesus is like nothing. Like,
wow.
No, he's like, here, he's just blind. So I'm like, dude, like these injuries are not due to Jesus punishing me. Like I just am injured. But through that, thankfully, was able to realize like that was wrong. And that was not like proper theology at the time, you know, and built so much trust with Jesus at that time. I now, rather than trying to take whether it was a injury or whether it was a problem and just throw it on like, God is punishing me or this is coming from God. I'm like, no. Take a little bit more responsibility. One, we live in a broken world. Things happen. But also it's just like, hey, I can bring this to you knowing like you're going to have the best thing for me. And I know the bad is not coming from you. Like it just builds a sense of like not only trust, but just security of like, I can bring something to you. So I think that was the biggest piece for me.
That's so good. And such a great encouragement for anyone who's listening that maybe is trying to process through their injury. Or not just an injury, but just something like really crappy that's going on in their life. To still remember that we're living in a broken world and he's not the source of evil. He's not the source of those things. But that at the end of the day, he is in control, that like the final say is in his hands. And the final say is ultimately in heaven. So even when things really sucky happen here, we can always have the hope that it's going to be fully made good and restored and made new. And even if we don't see that now, like the end is secure.
And I think one of the biggest shifts for me was like realizing like when something, like I think, like I said before, I was like, God is putting this on me or whatever. And now it's like, it's not coming from him. And not only that, but like Jesus is with me in the trenches. Like he's not sitting on his throne high above and just like letting me be. It's like,
let's see how Kero handles this one.
He is like right there next to me through this. It's just, am I going to be willing to see him? You know what I mean? Like, am I observant enough to be like, oh, you're actually are in this? Like, so I think that was a very big like shift for sure.
So good. So cool. I love it.